in an environment that makes every visit a positive and comfortable experience. At Knoxville Smiles, it's about more than just treatments. We're focused on creating a welcoming environment where you feel like family. Our state-of-the-art facilities are designed with your comfort in mind, and our friendly staff is always ready to address your questions and concerns. Don't wait any longer to achieve a beautiful smile you deserve. Schedule your appointment at Knoxville Smiles today and take that first step towards a healthier, happier you. Call us at 865-539-1776 to book your appointment today, or just visit our website at knoxvillesmiles.com.
It's the Chase! It's the Chase! Live 1 to 3, Monday through Friday on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville. Listen to Chase and his friends on WKGN. It's the Chase! It's the Scruffy City! Listen to his friends, and his friends are on WKGN. I'm always taking your calls on the Tennessee Vols. It's the Chase! It's the Chase! It's the Chase!
All right, Knoxville, the Chase is on. My name is Chase Thomas, joined alongside Ethan Stone of Saturday Down South. We've got intern Alex Sarkis on the ones and twos, along with, now that it's been revealed, our full-time producer right here on the Chase starting on Monday, Mr. Brett Holander. So we got a packed house for you guys here on this Thursday. Peyton Lewis days away from Tennessee, kicking things off against the Syracuse Orangemen. Ethan Stone, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It feels wonderful outside. I feel like I start with that every time, but I love how much the weather's changing here, getting away from it being incredibly hot outside. And of course, there's football on our TV screens tonight, so very excited for that and to get into some Tennessee Vols with you, Chase.
There is football to get into tonight, so we'll dive into that. But yeah, no, I'm very excited that football is back. We got a whole heck of a lot on the docket here tonight. Tomorrow night, I'll be at Maryville West. Speaking of West, we'll have Barron Chandler, head coach for the West Rebels, on here at 2:15. So we'll have him join the show, and I'm wearing my Smashville hat, and we're gonna have Brian Baston of On the Vortex to talk some Preds. We got Brett rocking some Pred stuff.
Didn't even know it.
Good timing.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Well, Brian and I go way back, and we're always going to talk some Preds each and every week right here
Nice.
on this program. So we're going to do that throughout because, we touch on everything here in Tennessee. Preps, Tennessee Vols, Titans, Grizzlies, all that good stuff here along. Primarily Tennessee Vols each and every day, but we're also going to play the hits around Tennessee. So we got a jam-packed show for you guys today. Like I said, we'll have Brian Baston on here at 1:15 Eastern time to talk some Pred storylines here. We'll talk about Saturday Down South's SEC underdogs and who we think will help define the season of those underdogs, which UT player fits that mode here on Saturday Down South with our Saturday Down South college football expert Ethan Stone with us in studio today on this fine Thursday. Now, number 2, we'll talk about which former Vol we would like to, if we could only have one on this year's team in particular, who would you have at full strength? Who would you add in his prime at Tennessee? Who would you want to have back for one more year in 2025? You can call and let us know what your pick would be. Call or text us at 865-966-3435 is the way to do so. 865-966-3435 is the way to do so. We'll also do our player spotlight series on the hoops front with JP Estrella. What can we expect from him? Barron Chandler, head football coach of West High School, will be on here at 2:15, so stick around for that. And then, are we on Tristan Key's watch here at Tennessee? We'll talk about the latest from Steve Wiltfong's piece over there on On3 and more buzz on whether or not Tennessee is going to flip the 5-star recruit out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi sooner rather than later. So, jam-packed show for you guys today here on a Thursday. Brett, you doing okay? Doing better?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Good.
Thank you for asking. That was nice of you. Doing good. Just getting through our last couple of shows of Under Review. We had the big news drop yesterday. Excited to be coming over here full time. I guess I can bother you because Sam and Bob have not liked me the last leading up to this Tennessee football season. Doing well today.
Well, that's good. Brett, you're going to be like, come October, it's going to be kind of wild just how bubbly you are. Everyone in your personal life will be like, what's changed? It's like, Chase for whatever reason, just 2 months of working on the Chase has done wonders for my optimism about Tennessee football, basketball.
Is that before
baseball.
Bama or after Bama?
Alex, how are you doing?
Getting ready to head down to the A tomorrow, so I'm excited. And,
There you go. So I saw Dragon Con is in town.
Oh God.
So my advice in terms of Uber, if you can, Uber or MARTA, man. Like you want to get
What
around.
is MARTA?
What is MARTA?
Yeah.
It's our public transportation.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's like a train.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I was confused when you were talking about that on Tuesday.
Yes, MARTA. It's
Sweet old lady.
but that might be a Martha situation.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I don't know. There's not many Marthas anymore. That's one of those names has been retired, right?
I don't know many Martas either.
No. My mom's name, I think, has been
Martha.
kind of retired. Not a
Okay.
lot of Debbies anymore. I didn't grow up with a Debbie. Yeah.
Well,
know.
if Atlanta's got Dragon Con,
Yes.
we have Furry Con in Pittsburgh,
Oh,
and that's our little claim to fame. So
okay. Dragon Con's been going on for, I want to say back when I was in high school. Like it's always been at the epicenter of Atlanta once a year. But that going on along with Tennessee football, along with South Carolina, Virginia Tech are also in town for that next day game. So if you can avoid, without the parking and avoid all that, Alex, my advice as a local ATLian would be I would take MARTA and or Uber there and just hop out as far away as you can. Just do a walk so that you can get some steps in too. But everything's kind of close anyway. So if you have to park it there, or if they have to drop you off a little bit further out, do that and then just walk up a little bit, and so much more peace of mind. And you get to see Centennial Park and some other cool spots around the city. But that's what I would do, because you might lose your mind trying to get in and out of there parking wise downtown on Saturday is my hunch.
okay. Well, maybe I'll find myself at Dragon Con
There
at some point.
depending on how the game goes.
Yeah.
Like you might have to, you have other things to do.
Yeah, I got 2 more. We're there Friday, we're there tomorrow, we're there Sunday. So
there you go.
I have to wander on over.
Hey, there's a whole heck of a lot of fun stuff to do in Atlanta. So excited to hear how your trip went going into next week. My dad going to the game on Saturday with some of his brothers. So excited. I might get him on the show on Monday to get his recap from the in-person setting from the cheap seats from Mercedes-Benz Stadium this weekend. So maybe we'll have to get him on here to hear what he had to say about the game this weekend. But Ethan Stone kicking things off. We got a uniform reveal here. I got to say, I don't know if this is going to be a hot take or unpopular take, Ethan. We were just talking about the NFL new uniforms that were dropped, the rivalry uniforms, whatever they're called, for this season. I don't like that Tennessee's going orange and white in this game. That is a bad color combination here, because Syracuse, the better version, we saw it in 98, was the navy blue and orange Syracuse look mixed with the white Stormtrooper Tennessee look. Like, that is a good contrast. Now it's going to be kind of just a whole lot of orange on orange, and it's kind of like Clemson, Tennessee in the Orange Bowl last year or 2 years ago now, that I just didn't love how that looked either. It just, Clemson, you wish could have worn like purple pants or something to have more contrast there. I'm a big uniform guy. I think you are as well, Ethan Stone, but I didn't love that Tennessee is going to be wearing the orange and white in this game on Saturday. I was hoping they would wear Stormtroopers and Syracuse would wear blue and orange.
Actually, honestly, I kind of like the orange and white. And I feel like it's all going to depend on what Syracuse goes with. Have they revealed what they're going with, Chase? Do you know?
Well, if we're wearing orange and white, I'm going to guess Syracuse is going to wear white with orange pants, is my guess.
Because and this is what I personally think would be best if there's an avenue for it. If Tennessee's going to wear white helmets with orange and white, is it crazy to ask for Syracuse to have the orange helmets with the blue and orange and just go with their home stuff and both teams wear home jerseys? Or I don't know. Is that a bad take, Chase?
I would be okay with that. That would still be better than the alternative. Maybe they will do it. I don't know.
I would agree with you if Syracuse is going with like their orange, white and white, or orange, white and blue pants even. I think things are going to get a little difficult to differentiate.
Yeah.
But if they go with the orange and then the navy and then the orange again, I feel like Tennessee doesn't wear blue, so it's easy right there. Like, yeah, you can tell that's Syracuse, that's Tennessee. And I mean, it's not like that's going to be too big of a problem. It's just like you get that split second where you're like, oh, who is that? You know, that I feel like becomes a bit of a problem. Ultimately, I like it when Tennessee wears their classic orange and white. I don't know. This might be a hot take. I really don't know what the feelings of Tennessee fans are on this. I don't particularly like the Stormtroopers. That might just be me. I don't know. I have never been a huge fan of it. I like the classics. I like going with the orange and white.
Interesting.
I don't hate them. Stormtroopers, they're not terrible. It's just if Tennessee could wear any combination, I'd rather they just kind of rock that, or even, I don't know. I think the Stormtroopers are probably a little better than white with orange pants, but I like the classics. I like the traditional orange and white that Tennessee has, and I think it's a good way to start the season.
Wow, do you share that sentiment, Alex?
I love the Stormtroopers.
Okay.
I mean, this is an unbelievably hot take around here. I am not a big fan of Tennessee orange as a color.
Oh,
so
are you allowed to?
I was going to say,
I don't know.
I was kind of thinking that too. Are you allowed to be in Knoxville and have that take?
That's a sin, but I understand. Like, I don't know. As long as they keep the orange out of the uniform, I'm happy, and that's why I love the Stormtroopers.
I would say, Brett, the Stormtrooper could be this is so in the weeds here, but a pet peeve of mine is when they wear the black cleats with our current Stormtrooper look. It looks terrible because that look works when you had the black outline on the numbers and the black nameplate. That is a nice mix. When you're wearing the black cleats with the black outline on the numbers, then we're talking. That's what I want. That is the best version of the Stormtroopers, the T. Martin, Peyton Manning white uniforms with the black outline. And I'm hoping that's something we get back with Adidas. Seems like Danny White has he's been good about bringing back history. We got the VOLS on the stadium and everything else. That's one that I would love to have back because I think Stormtroopers uniforms are good, but it is a pet peeve of mine when they wear the Stormtrooper look and they wear the black cleats. It just throws me off every time. And they don't all wear them. It just looks bad. It's a bad look.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the Stormtroopers. I'm with Ethan, though. I'd rather have the traditionals more so, but I don't mind the jersey combinations. I'm just hoping for good football when you do wear the jerseys. That's all I'm hoping for, man.
There's uniforms matter. Uniforms are a great part of the game. I want to we're staring at the screen for 3.5 hours here. I want it to be aesthetically pleasing here.
I think uniforms matter, especially when the uniforms are bad. If the uniforms are just okay, like my feelings towards the Stormtrooper, or if they're good, I don't think it matters too much. If you look bad though, then I think that kind of I don't know, does that rub off on the team if you look absolutely can you imagine the Steelers with those Bumblebee uniforms doing anything of consequence?
Those Bumblebee uniforms are pretty awful.
We talked about it a couple weeks ago, and I it's what came to mind because they're that terrible.
100%. The Giants ones they got rid of though. Finally, I'm glad that those are gone. So their new throwbacks are great. I would also say the Giants need to bring back the gray pants. I don't like the white pants with their home blues and everything else. Yeah. I like the gray. It was a nice little balance with the white, but
NFL uniforms they're doing too much.
Minimalist style works in so many different ways. And also what worked before, a lot of the uniforms have just gotten progressively worse, that's why we inevitably go back to what used to work, when people talk about Georgia, if you ask any Georgia fan what their favorite logo was, it's the logo from 25 years ago when you think Terrence Edwards and David Pollock and all that, I guess the Jim Donnan Georgia Bulldogs logo and way back when with Vince Dooley and everything, but Old Smoky, is that our favorite? I love the
this
vintage.
New one's terrible right now.
Oh, you're out on the new one too?
I think so.
I actually kind of like
the
new one's number 2. I like the old one's still the OG.
Yeah.
Home field's got a lot
of never left that one.
No. Yeah, I tend to agree. I love the old vintage Smoky. Do you know what we're talking about, Ethan?
I think I do. Here, you might have to show me, but I think I know the ones you're talking about.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Alex?
I think I do.
I'm
gonna look it up though.
It's an old Smoky. I mean, right now I don't really want to talk about Smoky because we still haven't gotten clearance on whether or not Smoky's going to be on the field this year. I just
devastating.
It really would be another year with no Smoky on the sidelines. You got to do something, get off the pot here, as the saying goes, because multiple years in a row, no Smoky on the sidelines just can't happen.
Maybe he's just getting tired of it.
We got to make a move. Then it's next man up mentality. The transfer portal in the mascot game is something that we have to very much consider.
We got the money to go find one.
There's got to be a lot out there. There's got to be a lot of options. We got to get to the bottom of this, but we got a jam-packed show for you guys today. You can join the conversation. 865-966-3435 is the way to be a part of our show today. When we come back, we'll talk to On the Forecheck's Brian Baston on all things Nashville Predators. Stick with us. It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, and 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
Take Fan Run Radio with you on the all-new Fan Run app. Just search for Fan Run Radio wherever you download your apps.
Okay, so we really need uniforms and equipment for this season. Can I trust you with that? Cool, I'll just order them online. What? Yeah, I'm gonna hop online and I'm gonna get them ordered. Hold up, that's not a good idea. We shouldn't just spend money on some random online retailer, okay? I mean, it seems pretty convenient. Trust me, it's a terrible idea. Let me simplify this for you. SM Athletics. Okay, how do you pronounce it? SM Athletics? They're the go-to for uniforms and equipment, whether it's for universities, high schools, youth leagues, you name it. So why wouldn't you rather go with professionals who can guide us through the process, design the perfect uniforms, and deliver the best equipment? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. What's the name again? SM Athletics. Right. It's definitely smarter to go with a company that emphasizes customer service, fair pricing, and, of course, excellent products. Exactly. So, yeah, I guess it's settled then. For uniforms and equipment for all sports, it's SM Athletics.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
Rickard Ridge Barbecue, located in beautiful Cove Lake State Park. Rickard Ridge is home of the best ribs in the volunteer state. Smoked daily by pitmaster Mark Rickard. The barbecue at Rickard Ridge is mouth-watering, fall-off-the-bone delicious. Take the scenic drive up I-75 to exit 134. For directions and to look at the rest of the menu, visit Rickard Ridge online at rickardridgebbq.com.
The Tennessee Volunteers kick off the 2025 season against Syracuse on Saturday, and the Fan Run radio crew will be watching the game at Barley's in the Old City. You should watch it there with us, too. Kickoff is at noon, and we'll be there before that getting fired up for the season opener. Food, drinks, football, and fun. We hope to see you there.
Believe in family. Believe in your fellow man. Believe in honesty and an honest day's work. We do. We're Farm Bureau Insurance, and we don't just believe in Tennessee. We believe in Tennesseans. Farm Bureau Insurance, Tennessee's insurance company.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance for Tennesseans. Believe in me for all of your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871.
It's the Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. On the line right now, old friend, Nashville Predators insider, Brian Baston. Brian, good afternoon, my friend. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. It is fall weather here in Middle Tennessee, and I've got the Vols on TV again this weekend. I mean, how could you ask for anything better?
It's great. Brian Baston, Preds insider over there in Middle Tennessee, but also a UTK alum, Tennessee hockey super fan. We also got, can we say Admirals super fan, locked in on what Carl Taylor's doing up there with Milwaukee. He's a hockey guy, but also big Tennessee football guy as well. So we appreciate you joining us as often as you can right here on the Chase, Brian. We have to kick things off here. The biggest Nashville Predator storyline going into September right now is what?
Well, I think they've only got one thing left on their to-do list, and that is getting young Luke Evangelista signed. So he was a restricted free agent after last year, coming off of his entry-level deal, making the rookie salary of $800,000 or so a year, and he's due up. And I think there's only a handful of RFAs that are left on the board for most teams in the league. And I think people would get a little nervous, but I think that there shouldn't be too much to worry about getting him signed, because I think he is an integral part of this team going forward. I think in that next wave of young guys who are going to be leading the team, he's been playing top 6 minutes. He has been very valuable for the Nashville Predators, a former first-round pick. He's a guy that he's aged out of playing in the rookie showcase, but I mean, he always was a step ahead, I think, of almost everybody else when he was. And he's a valuable guy. So it's going to be really interesting. I think my friends over at Evolving Hockey, they have contract projections, and they're projecting him at about 3 years and $3.2 million a year, which is, I think, right in line with what he can do, especially with the forward, the forward depth being as poor, I think, as it is compared to recent years. I think that it's a big deal for them to get him signed, and I think it's just a matter of time. I think a lot of people may be getting a little nervous taking this long, seeing it's a season no-brainer, but I mean, Nashville's operating with like $9.6 million in cap space left. So there's no excuse to not get it done. So I think it's just a matter of time, but that's the big thing that's on the docket for them before the season gets started and training camp starts is getting Evangelista signed, because he's definitely a fan favorite.
So what's your gut on when the timeline is and what happens with Evangelista here?
If I had to guess, in the next week or two, I
Okay.
really think so. I think if they ramp up, I think they're going to want to have him signed going into camp. Obviously, because he needs to be able to participate, because he's technically a restricted free agent right now, so he's not technically on the roster. But he's a guy that's going to anchor that second line. He's been playing, on the wing with Steven Stamkos and guys like that, and so you're going to want a guy like that in there because there's not a lot of they're not a very top heavy forward team right now. And outside of that top line with Marchessault and O'Reilly and Forsberg, you've got to have some depth down there. And I think Evangelista's that guy. And so I think they get that done here in the next week or so. They probably give him something right in line with what the projections are. And I think he's earned every bit of it since, he started playing full time in Nashville.
Ryan O'Reilly, as we continue on our player review series here, Brian, 2024-2025 season review. What do you got for what we saw from O'Reilly with the Preds this past season?
Well, looking at, the rest of the team, and you see players, almost everybody else across the board had down years. Ryan O'Reilly has, I think, kind of continued his resurgence that he's had in his career with Nashville. So, he bounced around a little bit, started out with Colorado for a long time, went to Buffalo, St. Louis, and then had kind of a disaster of a year with Toronto for about 13 games. But he has come in and he's scored, 47 goals with Nashville. His career high is 28 goals, and he had 26 2 years ago and 21 last year, which for a guy who's 34, you don't really expect that out of a center who's got that age. But, he's anchoring that top line with Forsberg and Marchessault. And he's been just as good as people had hoped he'd be when he re-signed, because I think a lot of people coming out of once they traded him or got rid of him in Toronto, they thought his career was kind of over. And his resurgence, I mean, he's been in the talk over the last couple of trade deadlines as a player that, other teams have had interest in to get from Nashville. And I think that he's been kind of an anchor down the middle because, if you know anything about the Predators, they've always been, little light when it comes to centers. And I think that when they've got a guy like him on that top line, he's someone you need. I mean, he's still extremely good at, creating opportunities for his line mates. I think he had an even bigger impact than he's had most years on the power play. 9 goals last year, 17 assists, which is one of the top numbers for players on the power play last season. And so, you would think that as an older player on the team, he'd be one of those candidates to regress when he came to Nashville, but it's been quite the opposite. And I think that he's been really, really important for this team. And, we'll see how the season looks when the trade deadline comes around again. It might be time to look at shopping him around for something, but I think his value has increased enough that if they do make that move, they should be able to get something pretty substantial from him. But, again, you look at all the other players, you look at Marchessault, Forsberg, nothing close to what their potential is. But I think O'Reilly kind of stayed pretty solid from what you need. Again, 21 goals, 53 points out of a 34-year-old center. I think you're taking that every time.
What do you got for him, Brett?
Yeah, Brett. Last year we made the big splash moves with the Stamkos and Marchessault, players like that come in. It seemed like this offseason is kind of more focused on reshaping the D line or the D pairs, things like that. Has that been the focus this offseason, is kind of getting better defensively and then kind of working way up and supporting Saros more this season?
I think so. I think that the big signing that I liked quite a bit, which, they've had some up and down signings this offseason, was Nick Perbix out of Tampa Bay. They don't have a ton of right-handed defensemen, and I think Perbix was probably the best out there, on the market. And I think he's going to bring in a lot of help, I think, for a defensive corps who needed it pretty badly. I mean, Roman Josi missed some time with an injury last year. he's getting up there in age, and they've got to start thinking about what the future is going to hold here in a few years. With his ability and everything like that. And I think Nick Perbix is going to be an excellent player for Nashville. Something that they really haven't had a lot of guys who play on that right side since guys like Ryan Ellis, and so it'll be really good to have him on there. I think that they still have guys like Brady Shea, that I think second, third pair. I think player that is did not have a good year last year, but I think you could say that a lot of the guys they brought in last season were players who had been with other teams for a long time and kind of were getting used to things. And so, I think that they're going to really address that with guys like Perbix, but, also bringing in some of the younger players, because Nashville is a team that's drafted very, very well on defense. And they've got guys that are in the system who I think, are ready to make that next step, sooner rather than later.
I love it. One schematic change. You're good at analytics and scheme here, Brian Baston. So I want to pick your brain on Andrew Burnett here. What is one schematic change that you would like to see the head coach for the Preds change this offseason?
So I've always been a big Andrew Burnett fan. And I think when he came in for Nashville, I think one of the things that he had adjusted, compared to the John Hines times, and even before that with Peter Laviolette, is that his teams are really good at getting net front, getting those shots right in front of the goaltender and creating a lot of shots out of the slot. And last year, that just didn't happen. I mean, they weren't taking those shots up close, and that, really, really hurt them. I mean, the offense was very, very bad last year. And, I think some of that comes down to puck luck. I think they were like 16th in the league looking at expected goals. So they were taking the types of, high quality shots that they could do, but they, I think they're 31st in goal scoring last year. So, some of that's puck luck, that they just weren't making those shots that they should have, considering the quality. But, you look at some of those heat maps and things like that, and they were a complete non-factor in front of the net. And I think that, a lot of what Brunette does needs to come back. A lot of those low to high passes from behind the net to the crease, I think, are going to be really, really important when you've got guys like a Stamkos and Philip Forsberg who can kind of play and create shots out of nothing. I think that's got to be the focus for them, because that's a hallmark of Brunette teams. Back when he was, assistant with Florida and then coming to Nashville, he was really good at getting those high quality shots off. And last season that just didn't happen. So that'll be something I think it'll be a huge, huge focal point for them in training camp, because they got to get back to that game, because that's how you create a ton of offense, is getting, don't give the goaltender, more than a split second to react to shots. And when you can get those passes into the crease, it makes a huge difference on your offense.
Final Preds one for you, Brian. The next young Preds star will be who?
Well, speaking of young defenders, I think the next guy we're going to see is going to make a huge impact is Tanner Molendyk. He was a number one pick a couple years ago in 2023. He played last season in juniors with the Stacks Medicine Hat Tigers, who went to the Memorial Cup, lost to London. Plays with a ton of talent. I think next year's number one overall pick, Gavin McKenna, is on that team, and he was fantastic. I mean, he was a really great defender. He had a really great showing at the World Juniors last year. Again, playing with Medicine Hat after he came over from Saskatoon, I think was really good jump for him, and I think really helps. He's a fast guy. He's not Roman Josi fast, but very few people in the world are. But he's a guy that can lead the rush really, really well. He's an offensive-minded defenseman, so he's really going to be, I think, somebody who's going to be able to step in maybe next season even, depending on how things go. And I think he's going to be a guy that you can put in your top pairing even and really make an impact. I think, he'll be able to quarterback the power play here in a few years. I'm positive of that. And he's a guy that I have a ton of confidence in becoming a stalwart for Nashville on the blue line for a long time going forward.
I love it. Final thing, we'll get you out on this. Who's had the best offseason thus far in the NHL? I don't think it's going to be the Preds for this answer.
No, unfortunately not. I think there's a couple of candidates. I mean, you could go with Vegas, I think, because they made the big signing, the big splash over the offseason, getting Mitch Marner out of Toronto, which I think is going to be a good move, I think, for everybody. I think he was underappreciated in Toronto, but you could say that for a lot of players that come out of Toronto and the Maple Leafs, because they've got that, New York Yankees, Dallas Cowboys style of spotlight on them in the league, because it's kind of the center of the NHL. I think they're going to be really good. They made it work. They lost Petrangelo, obviously, but I think that, they're Vegas. They have been very good since they came into the league, and they find some way to make the salary cap work every year, whether you like it or not. The other one, again, I think is going to be might be Montreal. It was kind of close. Florida got all their big guys back, but I think Montreal is an exciting young team. They brought in Noah Dobson from the Islanders, who's a player I like a ton. Zach Bolduc, who's a 20-goal scorer, I think is going to really help, some of those young players out. I mean, when you've got guys like Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki, Slavoski, who was the number one pick a few years back, Lane Hudson, Demidov, like those are guys that are going to be the building blocks of the core of a really good Montreal team who kind of regressed after they made it to the Cup final a couple years ago and came in, and they brought in those guys like Dobson and Bolduc who are going to really help, provide some extra foundation for that team. And they're going to be a really, really good team for the next 3 or 4 years, I imagine. And so bringing those guys in, I think, they might slightly edge out Vegas for, I think, the best offseason.
I love it. Brian Baston, how do the good folks keep up with everything Nashville Predators hockey coverage on your end this fall?
Yeah, follow me on social media at Brian Baston and on the forecheck. And it might be a little while before we ramp up that Predators coverage as training camp starts. But again, if you're looking for extra Vols coverage just from the fan side of things, that's where you find me.
There you go. We love it. Brian Baston, always a pleasure, my friend, and I'll talk to you again very soon.
All right. See you soon.
There you have it. Brian Baston, UTK alum and Nashville Predators beat writer over there at ontheforecheck.com. Always doing great work there, and we always appreciate Brian joining us on this very show. When we continue on here in hour number 1, we'll break down a big-time Saturday Down South piece here with our Saturday Down South columnist, Ethan Stone, in studio with us on this Thursday. Biggest snub between all of these SEC underdogs. Who is the Tennessee underdog who could have made this list or might fit the bill this fall? We'll answer it right here on The Chase. Join us. 865-966-3435 is a way to jump in here today. 865-966-3435 is a way to do so. And then listen on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
You're listening to Fan Run Radio, the sports humans.
Friday Night Lights are back, and that means so is the SM Athletics Friday Night Scoreboard Show. Join me, Tim Hill, a.k.a. Vols Tim 85, and my crew every Friday night starting at 9:30 p.m. Live action, live calls, and all of the biggest talking points in East Tennessee high school football. It's the Friday Night Scoreboard Show presented by SM Athletics right here on Fan Run Radio, 1340 AM, the free Fan Run app, and streaming live on YouTube on Fan Run TV.
Hello, is Tina there?
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Vince from the hit reality show Wives Don't Tell. Tina applied for our show to confess that her husband won't go to the doctor to get his erectile dysfunction checked. She said she's ready for a guy that can bring the heat.
All right, what the hell is going on? You're talking to her husband right now? Tina!
Well, she wrote the application that her man's performance is questionable. She's basically married to a coffee table. She also said, we live within driving distance to Men's Pro Knoxville, but he's too scared to get a blood test.
Oh my, she is done. She is so done.
Got you, Mike. It's nephew Tommy. Ain't no reality show. It's a prank. Men's Pro Knoxville is the real deal, fellas. Local experts, test results in minutes. Call 865-544-8220 or hit menspronknoxville.com before your lady books a new co-star. Men's Pro Knoxville, making it happen.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia, courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys, every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Got a flat tire? Strange noise under the hood? Don't stress. Roll into Matlock Tire and Auto Service. From oil changes and brake repairs to brand new tires, Matlock's certified techs do it all. Fast, friendly, and fair priced, Matlock is the home of the price match guarantee. Bring in any competitor's ad, and Matlock will match the exact same tire for the exact same price. Matlock Tire and Auto Service, 5 locations in East Tennessee. Visit MatlockTireService.com to find the location nearest you and schedule your appointment.
It's the Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. Also, the home of the Tony Basilio Show, starting here on Monday from 11 to 1, right here on WKGN, Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, right before this show. So we're really excited to be right in between Tony Basilio and The Drive, Russell Smith, and Bob Baskerville moving over there. Sam Beard joining Talk Sports in the morning as well. So just a stacked lineup. Overtime with William Pattison from 6 to 8 is like just great coverage, 12 hours straight, Monday through Friday, right here on Fan Run Radio. So very excited for Tony to join our network of shows starting on Labor Day on Monday. So excited for that. But as we continue on here, Ethan Stone of SaturdayDownSouth.com in studio with us as he is every Thursday. Saturday Down South did a big-time column on the 10 underdogs who will help define SEC football in 2025. When you look at this list, Ethan Stone, who do you think is the best bet here to be the kind of underrated guy that could be the biggest factor? And who do you think's maybe the most overrated guy in this list?
Yeah, it should be known. It's not my piece. This is
right.
Neil Blackman. He's our Florida guy, columnist. Does a great job with the Florida Gators every week. And
he does the Gators breakdown show too, right?
Yeah. And he like in situations like this, he kind of branches out and does some other college football columns when us and the crew need him at SDS. But yeah, he does a great job. So check out his stuff, including this piece. And yeah, I gave a look through it. I agree with him on just about everything. The one I agree with the most, and I actually think should be higher, he has it at number 9. I think it's Nick Harbor, South Carolina.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. I think he is poised for a massive, massive year in South Carolina. When you have that combination of speed and size, Neil specifically mentioned in this that he's got some Calvin Johnson in him, like truly, at the very least, the size. The talent still yet to be determined, but he's got size and speed. He had a good season, especially at the end of last year, as Lenoris Sellers kind of progressed a bit as a passer. And given that I think Sellers is going to be a Heisman candidate and Simon is gone, the South Carolina's tight end, he's going to be a top target for Sellers. I think there is a strong chance he breaks 1,000 yards this season. I think he's going to be really, really good. And a lot of people have heard of him, especially college football fans before, just because he was a highly rated recruit a couple of years ago, heading into his junior season. But I think SEC fans especially everyone will know who this guy is come a couple months, because I think he's going to be a big time target for Sellers, and he has the potential to be one of the better receivers in the SEC, in my opinion. I really think he's too low on this list. I would put him at number 2 or number 1, because I think he's going to have that much of an impact on the Gamecocks.
He's a speedster, man. If he can put it all together, he can figure out how to translate that to the field. The sky's the limit for him. And I think, like you said, Lenoris Sellers sneakily really needs Nick Harbor to have a good year for him, because I don't know if I trust these South Carolina wide receivers all that much. You have Mizeo Bennett, who was a guy, I think he was actually committed to Tennessee and then flipped to South Carolina a couple of years ago.
I believe you're right.
So they have him. He's a South Carolina kid, but not a whole lot of proven wide receiver talent around Lenoris Sellers this year. And they're counting on Lenoris, kind of what Georgia counted on Carson Beck to do last year, where he was supposed to be good enough where if you're a projected number 1 overall pick, like Lenoris Sellers is to some folks here in 2026, you got to raise all tides, right? Like you've got to help develop and make life easier for Harbor and Bennett and company. Like it's kind of on you. But the big part of it too is, I mean, Faison getting cleared right before the start of the season is sneaky huge for South Carolina. Yeah. Because that combination of Faison, who's like 37 years old, along with Lenoris Sellers, is big time for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, it is for sure. And you mentioned South Carolina doesn't have too many pass catchers. I would agree with you. I mean, I think Harbor has the most talent in the room. Michael Smith, the tight end, I think is another underrated guy that honestly I think you could put on this list as well.
I think he was another guy. Was he the one who was teammates with Jake Merklinger at his Savannah school at Calvary Day?
I do not know off the top of my head, but I do know that he was obviously behind Simon.
Yes, they were teammates.
Yeah, for a lot of last season. So I think this is going to be his kind of come up year. And I think it's another reason why I think South Carolina could take a step in that regard. It's just, I mean, can the Gamecocks deal with pretty much everything that happens after like October? That's when it's going to get tough for them, because they have a very backloaded schedule that involves, tough SEC teams plus Clemson and the non-conference, and that's always going to be difficult. But South Carolina is a team that finishes strong, so we'll see if Beamer and company can hold that into this year as well. A name I think is a little overrated on this list, and I kind of disagree with Neil that I'm not sure it should even be on this list, because I think he's too big of a name. It is Perkins out of Ole Miss, the linebacker. And the reason I think that is because he's a second team preseason all SEC selection. He's a guy that people know. I think he's a massive presence in Ole Miss's linebacker room, and I think he's going to be obviously one of the better defenders for Ole Miss. I do not think by any means that he's going to have a bad year. I just don't quite think he fits on this list as it pertains to like underdogs. I think a lot of people know who Suntrain Perkins is.
Can we say too about Perkins is it's kind of funny because I mean LSU and Ole Miss are rivals, but Centarian Perkins is like Harold Perkins being used correctly. Like where Harold Perkins, everyone just keeps waiting on him to figure it out and find the right piece. And Ole Miss, Pete Golding's over here like, no, I can figure out Centarian Perkins. I can put him all over the place. Like I can play him at corner. I can play him wherever, and he's going to make an impact. It's got to be really frustrating if you're an LSU fan. You're like, maybe we got the wrong Perkins here, because they keep trying to make Perkins happen, and it's not happening at LSU. Maybe it's only one great Perkins on defense per SEC West program. I don't know what it is, but Perkins is going to be a dude. And I think Ole Miss, I think people are expecting Ole Miss to drop off defensively a whole lot, losing Nolan and company and Princely and all this. They still have a lot of good pieces on that defense. And I think Pete Golding's, I think he's now an underrated defensive coordinator in the sport. And I think it's just because he was kind of what would be the term? Just the guy who got hit around by Alabama fans because Alabama's defense kind of took a step back a little bit with Golding, but it was still a really good defense. He still developed a lot of guys. It was just the standard was so high with Saban and company that he just kind of got a lot of the grief there from post Kirby Smart, like he was not Kirby, but he was a great defensive coordinator. I think he's been great for Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin there. I'm going to give you the most overrated here, and it's Elo Medozi at Georgia. This is a huge jump up for Elo from Army and what he was going up against there versus the SEC. Like, we'll see if that's able to translate. I have a big question mark on where Georgia is going to get their pass rush from. Losing Damon Wilson to Mizzou was a sneaky, I think, kind of brutal blow for Georgia, because they have some true freshman guys who are going to be at that Leo spot next year and beyond, that they're going to be okay. I don't think they had a natural guy. Like Gabe Harris might be starting at Leo for them. He doesn't scare me off the edge against Tennessee in week 3. And I don't look at Elo Medozi, it's going to take some time. Like, yeah, Byron Young broke out for Tennessee, but it took some time for him to become a really good player at Leo for the Vols with that big step up in competition. I don't buy it. I think everyone's all in on like, oh, he was pretty productive at Army a year ago. And I like him. And I think he is a good player. But man, it is a totally different deal to win one-on-one against some of the tackles that he's going to go up against again in the SEC versus in the AAC. So I'm selling Elo Medozi being like a difference maker for Georgia. I think he'll be a rotation guy, not a big impact. I think they're going to talk about that early on. It's like, oh, watch out for Elo Medozi. And I'm like, I don't need to watch out. I don't really need to watch out. I mean, maybe it's famous last words, just discounting Georgia edge guys, but I don't think this is the year they're going to have it. I think on this list, the one that I agree with the most, and I'd probably put him at number 1, is Eric Singleton.
Yep, that's a good one.
He was really, really productive and a really good player last year at Georgia Tech. I think that was a sneaky big loss for Tech, where they're trying to replace him in the aggregate with the FIU guys, Eric Rivers and company. I don't know if it's going to be that clean, because Singleton was just kind of one of those guys who you could do a whole heck of a lot with him. And if Cam Coleman is able to feast like he did down the stretch last year and gets a whole heck of a lot of attention, Singleton in the slot could really break out over there on the Plains. If he has time and the offensive line at Auburn's good enough and Jackson Arnold can limit his turnover issues and figure stuff out, Eric Singleton could have a big time year. I would not be surprised at all if he had a bonkers year at Auburn on the Plains if things go right for them. I would buy, of all of the 10 here, that's the stock I would buy the most, where I'm like, I could see a Singleton breakout year because I think he's just a really good player, and I think he's going to really benefit being next to Cam Coleman, where everyone's going to look at Coleman, and Singleton might be at the end of the year with more yards and receptions.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head at the end there, just because he's not going to be the main target. The pause I have with Singleton is not having to do with Singleton whatsoever. And for what it's worth, before I say this, I agree with you. I do think he's being underrated. I think he's going to be a good piece in that Auburn room, especially if the Tigers can hit their ceiling. But as I've kind of discussed a little bit on this show before, I am not high on the Tigers at all, just because I don't buy the Hugh Freeze Jackson Arnold pairing. I think that's going to take a lot to get to work. If it can work, I think Auburn's going to be really good. They have a lot of talent. It's just, I think at a certain point you're trying to put a V8 on a tricycle. Like you got to make sure that you can get the power down. And I don't know if I love that pairing, but to your point, Chase, it makes sense to have him on the list because I think he is that talented, and I think the Tigers have two very, very good receivers that, like I say, if you can get it off the ground, they'll be cooking.
Paul's got the Tigers in the move. It's a great kicking and screaming deep cut for all my Will
Dude
Ferrell
Wipes
heads.
was perfect for Jackson Arnold.
Oh,
because he is.
Oh, I got it. Thank you for the second part there. I got it, Brett Holander. Do you agree? It seems like you were nodding along. You're not. You're all out on Auburn.
Oh yeah, no Jackson. I don't understand the move to go after Jackson Arnold whatsoever. Did they not watch his games last year? Where's the potential?
He beat Alabama? No.
I mean, he was still an elite 11.
Not throwing the ball.
Yeah,
I think he was an elite at 11 MVP.
I'm not even sure he's a step up from Peyton Thorne.
I think it's interesting because Auburn, I believe, is like 120th in FBS last year in turnover margin. And you went out and got a guy who had a turnover problem and got bitched. The Hugh Freeze quarterback conundrum his first 3 years at Auburn, which might be his downfall, to y'all's point, needs to be studied because Hugh Freeze, who just aced it at Liberty, aced it at Ole Miss, has completely botched it. It's just that if you were going to say what would be the undoing of Hugh Freeze at Auburn, quarterback play or quarterback evaluations would be pretty low on the list before he got his first game on the Plains. But that's what happened. Like him going back to the well with Peyton Thorne last year, knowing what he had after that first year was insane. And this year, going into the year with this expectation, like I know I've got to at least make a bowl game this year. And you're like, what? You're Auburn. This is year 3, and you get to flip there. Like that's not a thing. Like I hope we make a bowl game. I understand it's like no, you're Auburn. That the expectation is a lot higher than that. And to roll with Jackson Arnold, where if they implode offensively again, like I don't know if he gets year 4. And I wonder if he looks back and you're like, did I really go Peyton Thorne for 2 and Jackson Arnold for 3 as my like this is how I'm gonna make this work on the Plains and what would probably be his last SEC head coaching job? It's like you're not getting 3 in this league. So I don't know. It's a boom or bust situation, but like dodgeball. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. See if it pays off for him.
Good luck.
Good luck. On the Tennessee front, though, Alex, who would you say would fit the bill here the most? Which underrated Vol would fit in this top 10 list? If you had to put one in here, who would make the list?
It's tough because I have my most improved player this year for Tennessee that came out in our Beacon fall sports issue yesterday. So be sure to pick one up if you're on campus. But I had Caleb Herring as my most improved player overall. I'm expecting some big things from him this year. So I don't know if he would fit among these 10, but I think in terms of Tennessee, I see Caleb Herring having a big year. So
okay, I like it. What about you, Brett?
Sanders Jr.
Oh, that's bold. The number 1 tackle in the class.
Yeah, but like he's not played SEC. He's not played a snap in college. Like I think he's a little bit underrated right now. I think we've talked about the other 4 guys: Hurd, Pendleton, Satterwhite, Jesse Perry. Like there's not a lot of. I don't know. Maybe you talk about it more, but I just haven't seen the buzz, and I think he's going to play a big role. And if he can hold his own on that right side, it's just going to make us better offensively.
And he doesn't have to be great.
No, he doesn't.
Because Dane Davis and John Campbell, I mean, injuries and other stuff. I mean, it was a turnstile at right tackle last year. It was really bad. It was probably the worst right tackle play we've had in the Heupel era. So he just has to be, I think, a C. If he can get to C+ as a true freshman, I'll take that every day. And I think that's a huge
C+?
Yeah, I'll take that every day. True freshman, it's hard, man. Caden Proctor really struggled.
Are you having like C+ feels like you're having to provide a lot of help, chip blocks.
I mean, you're going
keeping
to do that
tight
anyway.
end in, that sort of thing.
I mean, they might be doing that anyway with a bunch
I
of
mean,
12
if you
personnel.
tell me like an A run blocker and like a C pass protector, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look at this. Ethan, this is unbelievable in real time. He started off by like really optimistic about David Sanders and just like that was his underrated pick. And this ended with him being like, I mean, can he be a C pass blocker?
You
Like an
said
A?
C.
That's me. I'm saying that's my perspective. And you're over here. This was your pick. I
don't know.
Goodness gracious.
Who's yours?
This is tough. So
flip it right around.
I mean, that's fair. There's a couple different ones that I think could make the cut here for me. I would say I don't think it's going to be running back because I think they're really going to rotate too strong in that way because I would lean like Peyton Lewis, but I think Peyton Lewis's time is probably next year where I don't think he'll be seen as like a go-to like lead star tailback in the SEC. And I'm like, I think Peyton Lewis is going to be one of the best running backs in the conference going into next year. So I don't think he'll be underrated by that point. But I'm going to say, the best bet here is probably Edwin Spillman. I would throw Edwin. I think Edwin's just going to be really good. I think he's going to surpass T-Lander in snaps earlier rather than later. And the Edwin Spillman, Aaron Carter combination could be really, really scary for a lot of opposing offenses around the conference. Like, I would not be surprised if Edwin Spillman makes his name known in the Syracuse game on Saturday. I think the sky's the limit with this kid. I listen to William Minge talk about him. William Minge is very positive. Mm-hmm. You need to listen to a lot of William Minge press conferences. Brett, I might just send a William Minge presser to you whenever I'm like, hey, Brett's kind of going down the other way.
I don't get mad when you send me stuff. I get so mad when I send you stuff.
I don't get mad. You are being nice. You're waiting at least till noon to send me. So that's good.
Now that I know you, what you do in your free time.
But I do think when I look at Edwin Spillman and how important linebacker play is, like when you see what happened post Keenan Peely in that linebacker room the last 2 years, if Spillman's healthy, that combination, you saw like Banks and Beasley were really good together. And I think that's a possibility with Spillman where a lot of folks are not going to pencil him in or they don't, because you're going to see T-Lander and Aaron Carter a lot early. Yeah. But I think Spillman, you're going to look at and you're like, oh, PFF grade like 87 here on Saturday and like 37 snaps for Spillman or something. And he's going to have some big hits. Like he's a violent defender. Him and Aaron Carter are pretty fearless. I think it's going to be a good combination. I think he's going to get a lot of snaps. Great story. Yeah, I could not buy enough Edwin Spillman stock. I'm very excited to see him beat Tennessee's big next star linebacker.
Okay.
Trust that room. It's also like I got to look at like the position room coaches, and I'm like, I trust William Minge. William Minge he's earned the benefit of the doubt. Who is it for you, Ethan?
Yeah, I like the Spillman take. I also like the Sanders take a lot. I'm a fan of right tackle being. If Sanders can just be C+, if he can be B, I think that's a win. My pick, though, I've said it on the show before, is Colton Hood. And I think if we're talking about guys that I think are underrated or underdogs heading into the season, I mean, it's got to be Hood. He's the guy that's going to be probably not starting, I would assume. Now, he will very likely be starting against Syracuse because Jermod McCoy is unlikely to play. So I think he'll have a chance, kind of shine a little bit early. I mean, this is a guy that he was behind Travis Hunter at Colorado. He came to Tennessee specifically saying he wanted to play in the SEC, started in the SEC at Auburn, went to Colorado, and now he's back in the SEC with Tennessee. I think he's in a good position with McCoy out. I don't think by any means he's going to take McCoy's job, but it's enough of a transition that I think Vols fans won't notice necessarily. That McCoy isn't on the field early. And look, it's not like Tennessee's playing some incredible quarterbacks to start the season. I understand that. But I do think right off the bat, I think Hood is going to make an impact. And I just have not seen that many people talking about him. And it's because he has not been, the perennial starter. He has not been that guy with the focus on him. And I think he kind of thrives in that role. And no matter where he is on the field, I think he's going to make a big impact this year.
I love it. When we come back, we'll kick off hour number 2 on which former Vol. If we only get one, and it's based on what they were at Tennessee, you get one back on this year's team. You get to pick one. Who is it and why? We'll go around the room here, and you can jump in. 865-966-3435 is the way to do so. 865-966-3435 is the way to jump into the conversation this afternoon right here on The Chase. You can join the stream, youtube.com/FanRunSports. Like and subscribe as we continue growing out our YouTube digital stream. So join the chat there as well on Fan Run Sports. It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
The flagship station for Tennessee football. Fans. Fan Run Radio.
Yeah, it's another day, but what kind of day is it really? A day of doom scrolling? Laundry day? Nah, it's a White Claw day. Light and refreshing tasting, uniquely cold way filtered. There's an iconic flavor for everyone. So grab a pack, grab your friends. Make the most of each day with those who matter most. When you're together with White Claw, every day is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You just gotta grab it. White Claw. Grab life by the claw. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. White Claw Seltzer Works, Chicago, Illinois.
What's the difference between an ordinary EV and a Mercedes-Benz EV? The feeling. Electric is what gets you there. Mercedes-Benz is what moves you in ways no other automaker can. Feel the freedom of the superbly versatile 7-seater EQB. Revel in the inspired, customizable comfort of the EQE sedan. Sense the brilliant intelligence of the EQE SUV. Discover the boundless capability of the EQS SUV. And luxuriate in the flagship meets spaceship magnificence of the EQS sedan. Every Mercedes-Benz electric vehicle offers the very latest MBUX voice-activated AI software, as well as remote access to a whole host of functions via the Mercedes Me Connect app. The vehicle's electric, the feeling all Mercedes, the choice all yours. Test drive a Mercedes-Benz electric today at your local dealer or learn more at mbusa.com/EQ.
Hey Knoxville! Surfside iced tea and vodka, made with real brewed tea, is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside, or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Got a problem tree looming over your home? Call ECR Total Landscapes. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, our certified pros get the job done safely and efficiently. We're licensed, insured, and ready 24/7 for emergency calls. Big or small, we cut them all. ECR Total Landscapes. Call now for a free estimate, 865-384-2012, and mention promo code FANRUN for free stump grinding on any tree removal now through the end of the year. Also, visit us at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
For over 3 years, Crumble Cookies has served the Knoxville area. From Clinton Highway to Parkside Drive, even our friends out in Maryville have reached you, our fans, with the best cookies in the game. This fall, Crumble is gearing up for yet another fantastic season. Whether you're tailgating or looking for a pick-me-up after getting the kids from school, Crumble has you covered. Download the Crumble app to check out this week's rewards and features. And stop on by. Tell them Fan Run sent you, but don't miss the cookies.
Attention service members and veterans. Introducing the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. From court martials to benefit claims, at Griffin Law, your mission is their mission. Here's VFL Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
It's the Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. Thank you for sticking with us here on hour number 2 of the Chase. We got Ethan Stone of SaturdayDownSouth.com in studio with us on Thursdays. As we continue on here, Alex Sarkis, Brett Hollander on the ones and twos as well. Roundtable discussion here. You can jump in at 865-966-3435 as a way to do so as well. Ethan, kicking things off, if you could have one former Vol football player, and it's only based on what they were at Tennessee for this year's squad, you can add them. Who is it for you?
Yeah, I think there's a very obvious answer to this question, so I'm going to not say that. I think the answer is Hendon Hooker, but I'm going to shy away from that just to keep things fair. I think it has to be Jalen Hyatt. I think it has to be either Jalen Hyatt or Jawan Jennings. I think those are the two correct answers if you can't have Hooker, just because you have to have a solid, absolutely dependable wide receiver going into the season. Because, I mean, what's the biggest question mark, I feel like, for Tennessee this entire offseason? Number one, it's quarterback. That's why I would say Hooker. And number two, it's the passing game in general. Who is he going to throw to? Who could make life easier for a guy like Aguilar? Aguilar excels at the deep ball. He was very good at that at App State. He struggled a little bit more with accuracy in the intermediate game, with progressions, with just decision making, but deep ball was always there for him. And I mean, Hyatt, as Hooker proved, in 2022, as Hyatt had his Biletnikoff season, I think he would be a major boon for this offense, mixed with what I think is going to be a good offensive line, what is going to be a good run game. If you have a good receiver like that just takes pressure off everybody else, that says, Mike Matthews, go do your thing, Braylon Staley, go do your thing, I think that would be huge for the Vols.
I love that. I'm a receiver, but I'm going to hold off here, and I'm going to see if anybody else throws out who I'm going to throw out here. But Alex, who do you got?
I mean, I love the Jalen Hyatt pick, obviously, but I am going to be basic and go Hendon Hooker. I think the other position on the field that is the big question mark is quarterback. And like I said, it's a basic answer, but I mean, you knew what you had in Hendon Hooker in 2022, and just the way his pocket presence, his mobility that he had, and, just the electricity that he brought, I think is something that this Tennessee team this year could use in a big way. And, he didn't turn the ball over. And, Joey Aguilar has shown in this past year that he's had trouble with that. So I think, Hendon Hooker, easy answer for me.
And I don't know, Alex, if you have the same take as this, but the reason I pick Hooker over, say, like Peyton, or like any other legendary Tennessee quarterback is just because of familiarity with the system, right? And because we know what Hooker did. And, if he doesn't get injured, how does Tennessee finish that season? So that's just that, like, if you add Hooker to this team, it's a guarantee that I think the Vols offense would be really good. So,
and can I ask you about Hooker though? Like, do you think it was more about Hooker being successful because teams hadn't caught up to the scheme? Like, teams know the scheme now. They've kind of figured Heupel out a little bit here, which is my big concern going into the season. Now, could Hooker make adjustments? Can Heupel make adjustments?
That's definitely not a bad point. That's something to consider. I would say still that Hooker would be efficient if he was heading to this season, just because of how dynamic an athlete he was.
Right.
I mean, coming in from Virginia Tech, I think a lot of people kind of underestimated what he was going to be for this team. And obviously, I mean, all respect to Heupel, he made the right decision eventually, but he started Joe Milton over him to start. So even Heupel, I guess, in a certain respect, kind of underrated him as well. And we saw what he was able to do with his legs, especially. I think that's a big reason why he worked so well at Tennessee, is because he was such a dynamic and such an elite runner. And, to be totally honest with you, we talked about it last week a little bit, Chase, on this show. I think part of the reason Hooker might be struggling a little bit is I think that injury really, really affected him more than a lot of people are willing to admit. But yeah, man, I do concede your point. I think that's, I mean, it was second year of Heupel, so it's a brand new thing for the SEC. And like you say, defenses have figured that out at this point. But I think how dynamic he was, I think he'd be able to overcome it.
Who do you got, Brett?
See, I mean, I'm not going to go quarterback, but I would prefer almost Dobbs over Hooker. Barely,
Dobbs in this offense?
I think so. I think
interesting.
He mentioned dynamic, and I can't think of a more dynamic guy that I've seen. Heath Schuler notwithstanding. I'm older, so I've seen a lot of great quarterbacks, and quarterbacks is just so easy to go to. But You know me. I'm a running back guy. I'm going running back. I'm looking at a Jalen Hurd. I won't, Kamara, I'm all for giving a running back 15, 20 carries a game. I think I like the bell cow. I like in this system, I think the more you can give it. And a lot of times he can be the best player on the field, best athlete on the field, I think. And that's a guaranteed thing outside the quarterback and center that you can do every single play if you wanted to. So if you have a bell cow and Hurd was as good as, I think got a raw deal. I think he could have been an all-time leading rusher here by the time his career ended. So I lean the running back position in this offense. And then, if you want to go defensive guy, I mean, obviously it's Eric Berry. I mean, you got to solidify your defense. You got to go Eric Berry because he can do it all. He could play outside if you need to, turn punts, somebody like that.
Eric is actually a great sneaky pick this season in particular because you have the boo question mark there. And you talked about the special teams.
Man.
Yeah, if Eric Berry was flying around at star this year in particular, you got a new safety next to Turrentine, questions at corner without Jamad. Berry would be, I hadn't really considered him that. I think Berry might usurp everybody on my list. I like the Eric Berry one because I think.
Who was your other one just for?
Cedric Tillman.
Okay.
So Cedric Tillman with Joey Aguilar in particular. I think 2022 Cedric Tillman before he got hurt was on pace. I mean, that's 20 plus targets he got against Pitt. I think Cedric Tillman was going to have a great season for Tennessee. The length, 6'3", long arms. I just look at what Joey Aguilar's skill set is. If you were able to replace Chris Brazzell on that outside with Cedric Tillman for this year alone, I think that would satisfy me a lot in terms of like my concerns about Mike and Braylon just putting a lot on these redshirt freshmen. That if you have someone like Cedric Tillman as your locker room leader at that spot and just someone who can go up, if Joey Aguilar struggles with accuracy, I love the catch radius of Tillman to be able to go up and get those 50-50 balls if Aguilar throws it up and Aguilar takes those chances. I love the idea where Tillman was a great blocking receiver too. He was like, you hope Brew was going to turn into Tillman, but it just never manifested that way for different reasons. But Tillman is kind of forgotten about, I think, because of the Jet Hype breakout. And after he got hurt, the situation just changed, unfortunately, for Tillman. But Tillman was, he had 12 TDs in 2021. He led Tennessee in touchdown receptions. I mean, he was going off against Alabama, if y'all remember, in Tuscaloosa. Like, he was great in that game. And I just think he was poised for a big time 2022 if he doesn't get hurt in Akron. And I just think his skill set is the best way to calm a lot of my questions about Joey Aguilar because I think that could limit interceptions. And I feel really good about Aguilar taking chances with Cedric Tillman on the outside. I don't really know if I trust him with Brazzell on the outside. I don't know with Mike being 6 feet and kind of on the smaller side. Is he going to be able to win some of those one-on-one battles, those 50-50 balls? Tillman, I know, is going to win some of those. And I just think with Aguilar, I think that connection could have been really fun this year.
I wonder, and I'm just curious, because I think Tillman is a great pick, and I think you might have hit a little bit on the end why you would take this guy over a guy like Jawan Jennings. He's a guy that, probably a 50-50 ball master, but I could understand why you would take Tillman just because of the deep threat. I feel like Tillman was a little more of a deep threat than Jawan was. But when it comes to a guy that can, if you are worried about the accuracy concerns, someone that's just going to go get the football and who is going to be an absolute bull, I think Jawan would be another pick for that as well. But I think you laid it out at the end. I think that's a good pick.
I love Dobbs.
I had a guy text. Yeah. He mentioned Cordero Patterson.
Cordero will be awesome.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if you need him this year. I don't know if he's someone this year in particular that you really need. Right? Like, I think Tennessee's going to be okay running the football. And I look at how they would use Cordero. Like, I like it, but I don't think this year in particular is one that stands out to me that they would really need Cordero. Great player, and I would love to see him over a couple of years in this game. But I think if I only get one choice this year and this year alone with this roster, I don't think he's my first call. But I love the idea of Cordero here in this game.
Dobbs was a fan
scares
submission,
me.
so I just had to throw it in there.
Yeah, always. And you can text us 865-966-3435 is the way to jump in. But yeah, I think Kamara obviously would have feasted in this offense. I don't know if Dobbs would have. Dobbs just feels kind of like
he made so many plays from nothing. Like, just.
But that's the antithesis of Josh Heupel offense.
But he was also an accurate quarterback for the most part, I thought.
In the pocket, do we think that he's going to be able to sit there and complete 70% of his passes, not throw any interceptions, and just work within structure? Because Heupel requires structure so much that I don't know if Dobbs would have been a great fit
Hooker
there.
ran for like almost 1,000 yards, right?
Hooker was insanely accurate on deep balls. He didn't throw turnover-worthy plays. He sat in the pocket. Like, if he took off, he was sliding. Dobbs was a more run-first quarterback. Hendon Hooker just knew when it was time to take off and bail.
Yeah.
Dobbs was like, I'm going to do stuff. I'm going to run. I'm going to put my head down. I'm pretty fearless. Hendon Hooker was a slider.
Yeah. No. It's all good, man. I don't know. It would have been interesting to see Hooker another couple of seasons for sure. Just to see how because these quarterbacks right now are struggling with the scheme and defense is caught up. So we got to find a guy that can come in here and figure this out for us.
One of the more underrated all-time terrible times to get injured, just instances of someone getting injured before, say, the end of the season or too early, I guess. Like, if Hooker had finished that season, what happens? What does he win a Heisman? Because he could have done it. He very well could have done it.
But he was in the game most of that South Carolina game, too, and we're still losing.
But he was cooking. It wasn't a Hendon Hooker problem.
No, we scored 40 points.
Yes.
It was obviously defense and a lot of other issues.
But that's one of the things that's forgotten about, too, is Hendon was great in that game, and the offense didn't really have a problem.
I can't remember if I asked y'all this show or under review, but I was just asking if he didn't get hurt, do you see Hooker as an NFL starting caliber quarterback?
It's just impossible to say.
It's tough to say.
Because he was probably trending first round, right?
He was getting it even after the energy.
Because that goes back to the Heupel conversation about quarterbacks moving on, right? And I think that's when I mentioned it. Ethan wasn't here, I know. It may have been Shumpert that was in here.
Yeah.
When we were asking that question, you may have posed it. So I've always wondered that. Like, is his knee just mentally in his head where he's not comfortable just playing quarterback position at all? Because I thought the Lions was a good fit despite Jared Goff being there.
Yeah, I can't answer that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would be curious to know what he thinks. And I'm sure there's a lot of mental. I think there's a lot of mental trust that you have to build back up when your knee fails you like that.
Yeah.
I think everybody's different, and if it took him time, that wouldn't be at all surprising. If you have to learn how to trust that knee again and plan and be a willing runner and everything else. Like, it's a big injury to come back from. And
he's in a good spot now, I think.
Yeah, I think Dave Canales has done a good job revitalizing quarterbacks. He did a great job last year with Bryce Young. Yeah. We thought Bryce Young was a bust, and then he fixed that. And then you have what he did with Baker Mayfield in Tampa. Dave Canales knows what he's doing with quarterbacks. So I do think that is a good practice squad landing spot. And also close to home. He's a North Carolina kid.
Yeah.
So he gets to come home to the hometown. And I just think he needs a reset. But he is 27. So we'll see how much time he gets there, but I'm rooting for him. He's an easy guy to root for.
Yep.
My Uncle Dave, VFL, Tennessee alum, way back in the day, he's listening, and he just texted him, I like Heath Schuler in this offense. Quick reactions, high energy, good enough arm, never give up attitude in close games.
Love Heath.
You're all about Heath.
Oh, yeah, love Heath. That was my first real memories of Tennessee football were Heath. So
great number.
Great. Just unbelievable athlete.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, I think Heath I would trust more in this scheme than
But
than
he was
Dobbs.
run first, too. He could sling it, but he was run
He
first.
could sling it, though. Dobbs, I love Josh
of course,
Dobbs.
Heath could do it all. He finished second in the Heisman Trophy, but he was something else. Yeah, no doubt.
What was Josh Dobbs' completion percentage at Tennessee? It's kind of one of those I want to go back and see in terms of what my memory of.
You just remember all his great runs.
Right.
You don't remember his.
Well, hold on. I might remember. There's one throw in
Yeah.
particular that I remember pretty
Close your
well.
eyes and throw it. Yeah. John, Jenny.
Yeah, there is one, I would say.
He completed at least one big pass, right?
Yeah. I asked him about it. He was on my podcast a couple years ago, but it was kind of interesting in terms of getting his, because you got to imagine just the nerves running out onto the field, knowing you just got one throw and hoping you're going to be able to get the play off and be able to have time to just sling it down and just throw it up. And Juwan Jennings,
I missed the throw. I'm not gonna lie. I went outside. I was in tears after after the Georgia play, man.
This is the most Brett story.
I was in tears, and all of a sudden, everybody's yelling upstairs. I was like, "What happened? We won!" And I was like, "No way!" I was so upset, man.
Oh no! So he completed 59% of his passes as a freshman, 63% year 2, 59.6 in year 3, and then 63% his final season. So Hendon was around 70%, but that's elite. But that upper 50s, lower 60s, I don't think that would have worked at Tennessee. Because what did Joe complete?
The systems,
Yeah, I think
with.
it is fair to say that Hendon was working with an easier system for a quarterback to play the game.
But I mean, what did Joe do? Because Joe was not the most accurate guy, and I feel like his completion percentage, if you look in 2023, I want to say it wasn't 70, but it was good. It was
like 64.
65%. Yeah. So if Josh Dobbs could have gotten somewhere close to that.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
What you need. Tune in 7 to 10 a.m. every weekday here on Fan Run Radio.
Hello, is Tina there?
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Vince from the hit reality show Wives Don't Tell. Tina applied for our show to confess that her husband won't go to the doctor to get his erectile dysfunction checked. She said she's ready for a guy that can bring the heat.
All right, what the hell is going on? You know you're talking to her husband right now? Tina!
Well, she wrote the application that her man's performance is questionable. She's basically married to a coffee table. She also said, we live within driving distance to Men's Pro Knoxville, but he's too scared to get a blood test.
Oh my, she is done. She is so done.
Gotcha, Mike. It's Nephew Tommy. Ain't no reality show. It's a prank. Men's Pro Knoxville is the real deal, fellas. Local experts, test results in minutes. Call 865-544-8220 or hit men'spro-knoxville.com before your lady books a new co-star. Men's Pro Knoxville, making it happen.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
It's Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. Next segment provided by SM Athletics Custom Apparel, smathletics.com for all of your custom apparel needs. On the line right now, head football coach of the West High School Rebels on the road at Maryville on Friday night. It's Barron Chandler. Barron, good afternoon, my friend. How are you?
Hey, Chase. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I mean, not the start that you were expecting last week, correct?
No, I don't think anybody had that in mind when we knew we were going to play against Bearden, that it was going to end up just sitting in the locker room waiting for a couple hours and then going home. So
yeah, and it's got to be hard too, because do you think that game happens on Saturday if that's a Friday game, or is it it's not even worth dwelling on the what if in terms of how you can get that rivalry game in?
I mean, if you had, I think if it probably was scheduled for Friday, we would have at least got to kick it off. But I don't think we would have ever finished it. And come Saturday, I mean, I probably in my mind was hoping that we would at least try to get it kicked off before 10 o'clock. But that being said, I walk out of the field house after it was all over at 9:30, and as soon as I walk out, there's another hit of lightning, and I mean that puts you at 10, and we weren't going to get that game in, on Saturday night. So it's disappointing. I know the kids really wanted to play; they were excited about just being the first real game. And they wanted to get out there, and it's a big rivalry game for them. So it's kids that they know and have grown up with, playing against and with, in other sports, and so it was disappointing to them. As a coach, it was disappointing because now we're sitting here in week 2, and everybody's played a game, and we haven't. So just that preparation of going from week 1 to week 2 and correcting those mistakes, we didn't get that. So. That part of it is tough to deal with as well.
We got to get a dome stadium somewhere, a multi-use dome stadium here in Knoxville, Tennessee, Coach. And that way, whenever weather just ruins some of our big games like West and Bearden over the weekend, we could just move it all to the dome. If we're unsure, let's just stack them over here. Maybe find a way the Knoxville Convention Center. Can we turn that into a football stadium when weather is not permitting here? Because a lot of big games, man. And I was really excited to see West and Bearden. I know that was hard for your kids and for y'all, because now you don't get to get that first game jitter out. I mean, Maryville played a barn burner against Alcoa last week, and they got to see kind of where their team was and got some experience. And you guys are going in, I don't want to say blind, but just going in not really sure how things are going to go, because you haven't seen any in-game action for your team. It's just kind of, it's got to be tough.
It is tough. I mean, I drove over there, and I sat up there in the stands I was sitting with Coach Brown's wife and daughter and grandbabies and some friends. And so, I sat right up there and watched that game as well. And, obviously, Maryville Alcoa is a special game, and it, that one lived up to all that hype as well.
So when you look at this Maryville matchup, what stands out to you about what you saw from Maryville on tape last week against Alcoa? What do you like about the matchup for your team? Where are you at 1 day out from this contest?
I think the thing that you see about Maryville is they are a typical Maryville team. Their kids are well coached. They try to do things the right way. They're in the correct spots. They do their job and do what they're supposed to. And that's what you've said about Maryville for a lot of years now, even back to when I played. Maryville was like that then. You just never got their kids out of the right spot, and they were always doing what they were supposed to. And when teams do that, they're tough to deal with.
So when you look at your next 3 weeks, because this is tough. When you look at y'all's schedule, you're going to Maryville this week, at Catholic next week, and then Alcoa at home. Do you like your team being tested like this early on with state title aspirations? That iron sharpens iron.
I'll tell you that we play at Maryville, obviously, but then next week we are at Central.
Oh, okay.
And that's our first region game, so obviously that's a very important one. And another very proud program that's had some state championship success here in the recent years. And then obviously, we have Alcoa on Thursday on TV, and so it is a grueling stretch here to start the year. But I know from past years and experience that these type of games only make you better when you get down the road into the playoffs, because you have been tested, and you play teams that are good enough to make you pay for your mistakes, and that shows up on film, and then you can get that stuff corrected, and you're just that much better for it down the road. Now, the one caveat to that is you obviously you don't want to get anybody hurt. You want to be healthy coming out of that stuff, and these games are tough because they're very physical games, because that's what good football teams are. They're physical.
Absolutely. So when you look at what you've got in store as head coach here in year one for you, how have you settled in here, Coach Chandler?
It has been a transition for sure. I laugh about it because I don't know if you know a ton of the background, but me and Coach Brown worked together for, I believe, 21 or 22 football seasons. We coached together at Morristown West for a lot of years. We came down here to Knox West together. Obviously, we've had some success here, and that part of it makes the job. The expectations are high, but it makes the job easier in the sense that the kids have those expectations. They want to continue that as a program on together. But as far as me personally, I think it's kind of funny. Coach Brown used to say, when he'd get a little upset with us assistant coaches, and he'd say, we'd say to him, well, that's why you get paid the big bucks. And I said, I'm starting to understand why he didn't like that comment.
I mean, it's got to be. It's a big transition. I mean, are you still able to be as locked in defensively and the game planning as much, or are you trying to be more of a CEO coach this year?
No, I'm still calling the defense. I think I'd go a little bit crazy if I wasn't doing something. I need something to keep me tied to the game. I mean, it really kind of hit me even in the summer. We were going out, and there's just so much stuff to do when you're starting to talk about ordering helmet decals and ordering, clothing and, just every little bitty thing that you've got to kind of put together. And I've had a ton of support from our community, our parents and administration, and just teachers, and just people reaching out and saying, hey, we're pulling for you, we're supporting you. And so that part's been great. But I just remember walking out onto the field for a 7-on-7, and just saying, wow, I really enjoy this part of it now, because I don't have to, this is the one time I can put my phone down and I don't have to worry about answering it. And I just get to go coach football and be out here with these kids competing. And so I really want to stay tied into that. We still meet. I meet with the defense, and we go over all the X's and O's stuff, and getting our plan together for the week, and obviously have to spend some time with the offense as well. So, but it has been a definite transition, but it's a lot, but it's also, I really care about this community and these kids, and this program. And so, I don't mind doing that. I enjoy doing that. It's a thing that's important to me. So, I don't mind working hard for that.
Do you have any game day traditions that West football fans might not know about Coach Chandler here?
Probably. I try to say I'm not very superstitious, but I probably do have some things.
So you're a little stitious. You're not superstitious. You're just a little stitious.
One thing I probably say is there's some pins that they give out to teachers here in Knox County. It's one of the banks here in town, and so I kind of collect those up because none of the other teachers like to use them, but I collect them because I write the game plan, the call sheet for the week. I actually write it out. I don't type it up, and I write it out with one of those same type of pens every week. And it's, I don't know why I do it, but that's just what I do. And so, that's one thing that's probably kind of weird and doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but, football coaches are very routine.
Yes.
And so, especially on game day,
right.
But I think it's kind of funny. We had going into the jamboree, we had one of the teachers here made a sandwich for me for lunch because I didn't have anything to eat, and one of the other coaches said, "Well, if this works out tonight, then you're going to have to do this every Friday. And you got to be locked in on that." So, I mean, there's probably a lot of things that we do that is very routine that I don't even think about. So
I love it. So are you a coffee guy? We got the food out, or what's the caffeine intake? We've talked to different coaches throughout the summer on this. What's the caffeine looking like on game day?
Well, I will say this. If I drink coffee, it is strictly a vehicle for caffeine. I'm not a huge coffee person, but there are some mornings that I need a little pick me up, and I do that. But I'm probably going to have a Diet Coke at some point during the day, and then
okay.
One of the things that's kind of come up, and not for me recently, because I'm actually from Morristown, but that's where I still live there. So, I'm a fan of Dr. Enough, which is made up in the Tri-Cities. And so we have one of our parents who is also from the Tri-Cities area, and he got a Dr. Enough to donate like 10 cases of Dr. Enough. So I've got a fridge in my office that has all this Dr. Enough in there. So that's probably something that here recently has really kind of grown on the coaches. One, because it's free because they gave it to us, but two, a lot of them haven't seen it because they're just starting to kind of get down here into Knoxville, into some areas. So, that's something that I usually have one of those too. So it's kind of unique because you don't see it down here in Knoxville a whole lot.
Dr. Enough, the original energy booster since 1949.
Correct. Yes.
I love this. I did not know about this before. So there you go.
So I think they're about to start putting them in Weigel's and maybe Sam's Club is what I was told.
Okay.
And I talked to them. I told the parent, I said, well, you need to set it up when we get out of football season. I want to go up and see their facility. So they have their I guess where they make it, distribute it out of up in Johnson City.
That's big time. Speaking of big time, we'll wrap up on this. JP Peace, Tennessee commit, linebacker. You coach him, have coached him for multiple years now. What makes him a special linebacker for your Rebels defense?
Well, obviously JP has a great family background. I mean, Coach Fulmer's his grandfather. His dad, Robert Peace, is actually helping me out with some game day administration stuff and has been a great asset for us out there. And so he obviously played at UT, played in the NFL, and even some people may not know, but Robert's dad was the head coach at Louisiana Tech at one time. And so JP has a great family background in the game of football. He's a physically gifted kid. every time I see him walking down the hallway, I think he's got an inch taller and his shoulders are getting wider. And, so he's physically gifted. But the thing that I think separates JP and has allowed him to have some success that he has had is, I'm sitting here, I have lunch duty down here in the Sutherland lobby at West High School. And so I'm sitting here and JP spends 30 minutes of his lunchtime. He comes down there and sits with me and we just sit and watch film. And then we do that, that's pretty much when we get into playing games, we do that at least twice a week. And, so he's willing to put in the time to prepare himself, not only physically, but mentally, so he can perform at the highest level. And I think that's the part that really separates him, is just the willingness to prepare and to get the repetition, whether it be mental or even the physical reps at practice, so he can be as successful as possible out there on the game field.
I love it. How do the good folks support everything West Rebels football this season?
Yeah. So obviously, we'd love to have people come out and catch the games. We have some, some people that do some social media stuff for us. Obviously, West Rebels football, and we have a website that they kind of run, and there's some things like that, and so it's out there. I try to share it through my stuff, but we just like people coming out and hopefully they think it's an enjoyable time to come out and watch us play, and I know the kids enjoy being able to do that for their fans.
I love it. Well, I'll be there in attendance to watch your Rebels play on the sidelines this Friday night at Maryville against Coach Hunt's Maryville Rebels. So good luck this Friday night, Coach, and I appreciate you making part of your day here on the Chase.
All right. I appreciate you calling and checking in with us and wanting to highlight our kids a little bit. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Coach Chandler, there you have it. West Rebels head football coach, Coach Chandler, right here on the Chase on this Thursday afternoon. Presented by SM Athletics, your customer, your custom apparel company right there at smathletics.com. Give them a call today. 865-966-3434 is the way to jump in there. Their team is dedicated to delivering the highest quality custom athletics uniforms, unparalleled customer service, and reliable products tailored to your specific requirements. Go visit smathletics.com today for all of your custom apparel needs over there, smathletics.com, and you can call them at 865-966-3434 is the way to do so. When we come back, we'll put a bow on this Thursday edition of The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
Check out our new and improved website at fanrunradio.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jacob Wilco, and I'm proud to join the team here at Knoxville Smiles, where we're leading the way in comfortable, modern dentistry. Many people are anxious about going to the dentist. Here at Knoxville Smiles, our team works hard to make the experience as comfortable as possible. We offer everything from warm blankets to sedation dentistry to help you relax and make your visit as enjoyable as possible. So if it's been a while since you've been to the dentist, give us a call at 865-539-1776 to experience a dental visit that will make you smile.
Yeehaw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
Hi, this is Bo Kregner from the Kregner Group at Realty Executives, and I know there's a lot of choices here in East Tennessee when it comes to choosing a realtor. Here's why the Kregner Group is different. At the Kregner Group, our motto is walking by faith, serving others. It's how I live my life. It's how I run my business. Here at the Kregner Group, we're committed to doing real estate the right way. Faith, honesty, integrity. The Kregner Group. Call me anytime at 865-742-1035 or visit my website at boknowshouses.com.
Ready, set, hut. Wait a minute. Isn't this a Smokies commercial? It is, but tonight is Tennessee Titans night at the ballpark. Enter to win a free autographed jersey and Titans tickets. See you tonight.
Have you ever found yourself wishing your clothes looked brand new again? Whether it's your favorite suit, that little black dress, or your comfy winter coat, Crown Cleaners can make it happen. From stubborn stains to delicate fabrics, the expert team at Crown Cleaners uses the latest cleaning technology to ensure your clothes come back looking and feeling fresh. Visit one of their 2 area locations, Kingston Pike on Bearden Hill or South North Shore Drive near Dunkin' Donuts. Online at crowncleaners.com. Crown Cleaners, a tradition of excellence.
Hey folks, if you're in need of a lawyer, you need to call my friend Jerry Givens. I've known Jerry since high school and can personally vouch for him. He's East Tennessee through and through, and if you're going through a divorce, bankruptcy, or a DUI case, you'll need someone you can trust on your side to help you navigate the local legal system. You can trust Jerry Givens. Call the law offices of Jerry Givens today at 865-801-9250 to schedule your free consultation. That's 801-9250.
Are you ready to show off that confident, radiant smile you've always dreamed of? Well, here at Knoxville Smiles, we're ready to turn your dream into a reality. At Knoxville Smiles, we're more than just a dental practice. We're your partners in achieving optimum oral health. From routine cleanings and checkups to advanced cosmetics and restorative procedures, we offer a wide range of services in an environment that makes every visit a positive and comfortable experience. At Knoxville Smiles, it's about more than just treatments. We're focused on creating a welcoming environment where you feel like family. Our state-of-the-art facilities are designed with your comfort in mind, and our friendly staff is always ready to address your questions and concerns. Don't wait any longer to achieve a beautiful smile you deserve. Schedule your appointment at Knoxville Smiles today and take that first step towards a healthier, happier you. Call us at 865-539-1776 to book your appointment today, or just visit our website at knoxvillesmiles.com.
It's a Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. Appreciate Baron Chandler, head football coach of the West Rebels, joining us right here on the Chase. You can check back and listen if you missed it on demand, Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch us right here on YouTube. Make sure you get that thumbs up and subscribe on our YouTube channel. All of our shows streaming live all 12 hours a day right there on the Fan Run Sports YouTube channel. So we put a bow on this Thursday afternoon edition of the program. JP Estrella, year 3 in the program, top 50 recruit from Maine. Big time get. It's been a while, and obviously just some unfortunate injury stuff last year prevented him from becoming a factor, and someone that Tennessee, I think, would have really utilized last year with how thin they were in the front court especially. So someone I'm still extremely high on, someone who's had a great spring and summer by all accounts. Looks like he's in great shape with the videos he's posted and everything else. Like JP Estrella looks healthy, in shape, and it's an exciting time because it's not the same as what he's walking into this year as to what he was walking into last year, Ethan Stone, because there's a whole lot more depth and a whole lot more competition, both on the younger side with Dwayne Brown and then on the older side with Jalen Carey. So what do you make of JP Estrella going into year 3? Do you think he's poised for a big year 3?
I think the path is certainly there just because of all the guys you listed, of Carey, of Brown, of Felix, obviously, who we've talked about a bit on this show has taken a step, is expected to take a step this season. I think JP has the highest offensive ceiling of the group among the big men. I mean, he's of the things we've seen, he has post moves. He has the ability to shoot it a little further from the basket, which really, I mean, maybe Brown could get to that point. Maybe Carey could get to that point to be a viable option, but we just haven't really seen that from the guys returning, right? From Cade, from Felix. I think JP's just his ceiling in that room is what's most intriguing about him. Now, what it will always come back to being with JP Case is just what is he going to look like after the injury, right? I mean, he played a couple games at the start of last season, I believe against Louisville, Montana, before he got, kind of shut off for the year. But what is that going to look like? He hasn't played, legitimate long-term basketball in, I guess, since Purdue, 2023, when he had a sneaky good game defending against Zach Edey. And that's another part of it right there is, what is he going to look like on the defensive end? What's he going to look like on the boards? How will he be able to help Felix and some of the other guys down low as a rebounder? I mean, all these questions are just so big to me because, like I say, and like I've said 1,000 times before, we just haven't seen what he's going to look like. So that's always what I'll go back to with JP. It wouldn't surprise me if he takes a massive step and he is, that guy that Barnes and company were looking forward to at the start of last year before the injury derailed him. He could also, I think, have a little bit of a slower start. I can't really see JP not being a contributor just because I think he has so much talent. But I do wonder what the non-conference slate especially is going to look like this season, and especially with the Vols going against some tough opponents this year.
Yeah, Alex, when I look at JP in year 3, I mean, I'm a big JP guy, and I think he's got the best post moves, best offensive upside of anyone in the Tennessee Bigs room. But I just want him to be a key rotation guy this year because I think if you can talk him into like, hey, next year, I understand like you're ready to go year 3, but I think you can frame it to him of like, you could be our huge upperclassman guy. Like Felix Okpara, this is it. You could be our starting 5 on a really good team yet again, and you could be the epicenter because Jacoby Gillespie probably gone, Nate Ament probably gone. Like you could be the vocal point. Like you could be the guy we throw it inside with the high usage rate. We just need to get you acclimated. We don't need you to be the superstar guy inside this year. We need you to play 15 to 20 minutes. We need you to work on defense. We need you to maybe shoot some threes and see what he looks like spacing wise, because that's the other part of this is like, I don't know who the right big mate is for JP with his upside. Like, I don't know if you're gonna be able to get away with him and Felix on the court together. I don't know if him and Jalen Carey are a perfect fit. I don't know if him and Cade Phillips are the right 4 or 5 pairing. Like I have a lot of, it's not concerns, just questions that are unanswerable right now that I am curious how Rick kind of starts it off with JP and getting him acclimated and what is the best two-man unit at the big spot to make sure that JP Estrella is in the best position possible. What do you think?
I mean, I think in terms of JP, obviously I think we know the scoring is his best trait. I would love to see him get involved on the boards, especially for the team. I mean, last year Felix was not a huge rebound guy for his size. I mean, I think there was a lot of games last year where you would love to see more from Tennessee on the board. So I think if JP can add some rebounding to that would be ginormous. Can he get close to a double-double in that spot? Let's see. I think that's the big question as he gets back in the rotation here. So, I mean, you talk about, these portal additions and everybody that they brought in. I think JP might be, I mean, what a huge addition to make scoring the basketball inside. And man, if he can get those rebounds going, that would be ginormous for this team.
Yeah, a sneaky stat from last season in the Louisville game. He played 10 minutes. And remember, I mean, he only played 3 games all season. He played 10 minutes and he had 5 boards against Louisville, which, that was the best team he played last season. And Louisville ended up, not being a half bad program. So I wonder, can that take a little bit of a step, especially considering he's unlikely to play a huge amount of 5. I feel like if he does play, it's going to be a lot at the 4 with Felix. And obviously he will take some time at the 5 as well with just to give Felix a bit of a break. Because I feel like Okpara is going to be the number 1 option at center this season. So I think JP is going to play a lot at the 4, especially if he can, get that movement and he can, kind of spread out a little bit and shoot from more than just about 5 feet from the basket, which I believe he has the ability to do. But if he's going up against forwards, how much of a impact will he have on the boards? I think that's a very interesting question.
Do you think that's the combination that plays with JP the most, him and Felix?
I think it would be intriguing because I think Felix is the best defense of the group, and I think JP is the best offense of the group. I mean, if you can get those to gel together and just have it to a point where Felix takes a slight step on offense and he's a little bit better, which I think he will be. And JP already showed. I mean, it's one instance, but he held his own at least a little bit against Zach Edey in that NCAA tournament game where, Jonas was kind of getting eaten alive a little bit. So I think he has the ability. I think he's a big enough guy that, yeah, he could probably hold his own in that spot. It's just a matter of, does Barnes like that more than, say Jalen Carey, say Cade Phillips, because as we've talked about, Chase, this lineup is just so interesting because there's so many guys. I mean, there's a solid 12 guys, I think, that could play legitimate minutes in the SEC. What is Barnes going to do with them is the interesting question here. And JP is another one of those guys that, like Eitan Berg, like Nate Ament, kind of can be put in a couple different spots, and I think he could succeed in it.
Yeah, and I think he's also going to be affected by what Cade Phillips is this year, because if Cade is someone that they can trust and they can space the floor enough, and the 3 stuff is real with him this offseason, and he can back up Nate Ament at 3, that opens some doors for JP to get more run at the 4 and to work in there. But if Cade can't, and that's one where the shooting stuff does not translate to actual in-game action, and he can only play the 4 similar to what you were doing last year, that kind of blocks JP in a little bit, because Felix Akpara is going to play a bunch. Barring foul trouble, that he's playing 30 plus. He's playing 30, I would say 30 to 35 minutes a night. Like, Barnes is all like defense first, Felix Akpara, the rim running, everything else. Like, Felix is a leader, senior guy. He's playing a bunch of minutes, barring foul trouble. And I think JP's path is competing with Jalen Carey this offseason, and we'll see what that looks like. I imagine that's going to get very, I don't want to say testy in like a bad way, just very competitive here, because I'm sure if you're JP, you're looking at this like, well, I mean, he's a transfer. It's not like he's just this star guy who's coming in here, and it's not a Chaz Lanier, Dalton Connect type of situation. Like, I feel like I can outplay him and be the starter over Jalen Carey. So maybe that's something to watch, is like what those two look like, because it's not a guarantee the spacing is all that much better with Jalen Carey at the 4. Like, we assume he's going to be able to help space and play the 4 next to Akpara, but I don't think it's a guarantee. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some early on, to your point, Ethan, that we get Felix Akpara no matter what at the 5, and then Barnes seeing which of Estrella and Carey mesh better with Akpara.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think we'll see a lot. Honestly, I think we'll see a lot of just about every combination. I think Barnes is going to do a lot of mix and match and see what he likes. And to be honest with you, I think they're all good enough that it's going to be a tough decision for him.
Yeah.
Is the physicality going to take time? I just wonder how physical a player he is. Now, you're going against some really physical guys in practice.
Yeah.
But, I mean, is it going to have to be till January when you get an SEC play, when you're going to need them against Florida and Kentucky and teams with bigs, like multiple bigs they're going to throw at you, like you are about the physical side?
Can you imagine, just for a moment, JP Estrella at the 5, Felix is in foul trouble, and Jaden Quaintance is on the other side of the ball? Like, is that going to become a problem? Because Jaden Quaintance is a problem for just about everybody.
Yeah.
And, this, like I said earlier, this is a guy that hasn't played basketball in a while. He has a lot of talent, but, when he gets up against some of these SEC bigs, that's a great point. What's that going to look like?
I just hate the idea of Cade Phillips at the 3. I think he's our most athletic big.
Yeah.
He's your best alley-oop guy outside of, obviously Nate Ament or whatever, but he just seems a guy that needs to be around the rim. His activity is so much, and maybe he can crash the boards from the outside, but I just can't see him as a shooter, and I can only see him as just energetic, just block shots, be around the rim, be a nuisance more so than he can be on the perimeter.
It's a big what if, because remember, we had this with Jahmai last year. Well, what was the story where they brought up on the broadcast like 3 or 4 times early on this year? It's Jahmai's took like 15,000 threes this summer, and you're like, I mean, that's great, but defenses are real. I mean, you saw how teams were defending Jahmai. Like, it was the Brook Lopez treatment before he started hitting threes, where they were just like, I mean, you can take that shot. We'll live with you shooting threes. I mean, he was okay. Like, he was league average in terms of those shots. He took them sometimes, but Jahmai Meshack did not become a high volume 3-point shooter, even with all those reps last year. And he got a lot of
him in summer league though.
Yeah.
It's like, where was this?
Well, I mean, Jahmai was still the best on-ball defender. So we saw a whole lot of it in summer league, but the shooting, yes, it is one of those.
Yeah.
But I would say what's interesting about Cade is it looks like he's lost weight this summer. And I feel like he's like more shredded. And I don't know if that's going to work at the 4, to y'all's point, where if he's going to be your backup 4, if things don't go right with Estrella or Carey, does he have to put that weight back on? But also, I kind of wondered, his shoulder was banged up last year. Does he have the build to be able to hang, to Ethan's point, of a lot of the bigs that he's going to go up against in the SEC? Like, I think you want him to be the backup 3. Like that, in a perfect world, being able to do 36 minutes of Nate Ament and then 12 minutes of Cade, and he holds his own, then that's the best case scenario for Tennessee, because then you can have your normal big rotation there, and Cade can kind of slide in. You can let Amari Evans slowly develop. Like, that's the best case scenario, I think, for Tennessee, is actually Cade working out at the 3.
I think it actually I think it's a good look that Cade is getting a lot of reps at the 3 if he is, or if that's what Barnes' plan wants to be, because that tells you that one of JP or Jalen they have confidence in, at least to me, because that seems like that's the move here. Like, because I agree with you. I think Cade was good at the 4 last season. I don't really see why you'd move that around unless you have confidence that Tennessee's roster, their lineup can be even better. And obviously, well, not obviously maybe, but in my opinion, moving Cade to the 3 does open up things much better. Because like Cade can play the 3 and the 4. I don't think Jalen Carey can play the 3 and the 4.
No,
I just think if he's not shooting from the outside, and you mentioned Jemai, we dealt with, you're just talking about it being so crowded, like in a paint situation, or Nate can't even get to the rim, or Jacoby can't get to the rim because you just got all these bigs. Just shoot it, I'll go get it, kind of thing.
Barnes loves that problem though. Like, that's one of those we gotta, like, Barnes is gonna try Cade at the 3. I would be absolutely floored if Barnes does not start off trying the super big lineup and seeing if that works with Nate Amen at 2 and seeing what that all looks like. Because I mean, the length, look at the roster. It's length everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Rick Barnes loves length and athleticism. So defense first, inside out, he's gonna try it. Like, I don't think we're starting off with like Cade or 4. We don't believe the offensive upside's there. And I think you let it play out on the court. And if it doesn't work, then we go away. It's like Felix Akpara. We were throwing it inside early last year where they were like, we're like, hey, let's see if Felix can go to work. Let's see what didn't work.
No.
It was like, okay, you're back to rim running and lobs and everything else. Like,
I'm hoping Estrella's a good passer.
Yeah.
Like if you throw it in the post, he can kick it out. Because I don't know who that passing big is.
Well, that'll do it for this Thursday edition of The Chase. Thank you to Ethan Stone. Thank you to Alex Sarkis. Thank you to Brett Hollander. Great show here today, fellas. The Drive with Russell Smith and The Bear is up next. We're back tomorrow with Jack Foster of Omaha Productions and Wrecking Up Insider tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Have a wonderful afternoon, East Tennessee.